Starting a new subject or theme this week, which is animals. Just although it's still May, it's just because it's next month. I'm only running 3 sessions because I'm away 1 week, so I thought it would make a nice 4-week project. So I thought I'd start just with a little bit drawing for the first week, and then we can go into painting as we go. But I thought it was good to go over the drawing ideas. So this was the quick demo I did on Tuesday. My wife's dog. But it's quite well, not necessarily a difficult one to draw, but it's difficult to see. It's a black dog with quite a dark background, so I thought I'd just maybe try something else now. But if you want to see the demo for that, that's on the videos. That'll be on the videos that come out at the weekend. So I thought maybe do a little bit of these two. Maybe not a whole drawing each, but just a start off. So with drawing, I sort of think of it as 2 different approaches. There's like working from the outside of the shape and then working inwards. So I think of that as the kind of outside in way. So that would be, say if it's the bird, it'd be like thinking, this is roughly the bird shape and the beak's going to be about here, coming around here. So just getting the big shapes in. And then once I'm there, I tend to work more from the inside out. If I'm working in sort of sketchbook form, let's just find a sketchbook. I tend to do a lot of line drawing in my sketches. So that would be like a building one. I've got some more animal ones here. I've got some doggy ones too. I'm a good dog one. Yeah, so sort of things like this. I tend to then in those sort of instances, I tend to start in the middle and work out. So a kind of inside out way of drawing. So that's how I think about drawing. 2 different approaches.
Well, what is line drawing?
Line drawing. So
what is line drawing? Yeah. What is it?
Just drawing with a line.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, it's a different technique.
Yeah, it's really it's perceiving edges, that things have edges really, and then using a line to denote where those edges are really. That's kind of what it is. So it's not like anything that's got a line around there. It's being able to see an edge in the first place and then use a line to describe that. So that's really what I do a lot in my sketchbooks. Sometimes I'll just rough in tones, but most of the time I use a pen, which once it's down, you can't adjust it. So exactly. Just being very definite, make it a line. So in that case, I would, so if I was drawing this with a pen, I would start in the middle, and I think of the eye as being the middle. So I'm thinking that's where the eye would be. Place that there. And then from there, I can look at how much space up to the top of the forehead, and just work that shape around. How much space from here to here, to the back of the head, perhaps to there. And if this was pen, if I make a wrong line, I just have to leave it and just draw another one next to it and hope the viewer looks at the right one. So the beak is quite interesting because there's quite an angle there, and it seems to pretty much line up with the bottom of the eye. So I'm going to put a start to that. That's coming up to there, and then the edge of where the beak would be. I think when we're drawing people, animals, we look at the face first, and we tend to look at eyes first. So for me, it seems a logical place to start, and then work out from there. And then working down here. What I tend to do then, rather than just kind of work my way around the outside, I try and look at the inside of the forms. So I might go from here to here, where that's the next bit that really, there are a few feathers there, perhaps make a note of those, but the next bit that really stands out is the top of the wing, and that's at an angle about like that. And probably, if I was going to measure that, I think it's perhaps about 2 or 3 eyes with, between here and here. So that could be the start of the wing. And just take that, I think it comes down, across, just to here. And then there's a few sort of feathers here. A little bit of a feather shape here. Then perhaps once I've got that much in, I could then start looking at the front of the bird. Working my way down there. And then let's carry on down to the tip of the wing. Perhaps a little bit of its back now. It's probably a little bit distorted this because I'm drawing it from the side, so you can see. And then the tail, just seeing where that would be. Yeah, it's about that sort of height. Coming out here. And I could always measure something like compare the length of the tail with the length of the head and the beak, and that looks about the same. So that should be fine for that. And coming back up to here, and then we've got the sort of shapes here, and then just finding the tip of the. You could look at the angles, maybe between the tip of the tail and the tip of the wing. That comes down to about here. Or you could again measure it and measure down.
With my ruler.
If you must, yeah.
Sorry.
That's right. Anything you like, measure it with anything you like. Yeah, and then this bit obviously needs to sort of follow through here, I think. Or it seems to align. That must be this underbelly. And then the legs will be out here. And I could check where that's roughly in line with the eye. So kind of starting somewhere and then relating everything else to that. So that's very much the way I go about drawing. And if I was going to draw the squirrel as well, that would be pretty much the same sort of thing. I would probably approach the head just as I would a human head and start with an eye level and an idea where the middle of the features would be. So if I was just going to do this with a pen, that would have to be in my imagination. I would just have to, but I would start, say, with one eye. Once I've got that, have a look at the space between the eyes. You could measure, once again, however way you wanted. Just see how many, maybe measure one eye, see how many times that would fit across. I'm thinking about 5 or 6 across there. So I would say about there. And then look at where the nose would be. Perhaps the angle between there, or again measure an eye and see how many eyes down. That's 2 to get to the tip of the nose.
Have you started this one from the inside out now, haven't you?
Yes, yeah.
Is that because it's face on?
I just really, no, I mean, you could do exactly the same. You could do a rough sort of outline first. That might, the main thing about that is at least you know it's going to fit on the page. Whereas when I work in my sketchbook, sometimes I start and I try and visualise where everything's going to go. But sometimes it gets bigger and it all ends up dropping off. So that's the downside of it. So I don't know what the perfect approach is to drawing. I'm yet to find it. Certainly with painting, I do try and establish where all the big shapes are going to go. Because there's nothing more annoying than getting into some details and finding you haven't got enough room and it all looks cramped. And
I suppose the face is the most dominant on that, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas the body was on the bird, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, you could do exactly the same. I just thought I'd just show you that sort of approach. But I think from here, what I tend to look for is the hands very much and where they are. So again, rather than going around the outside, look at the spaces between, say, once you've got that bit established, the space between here and here, and maybe measure that to the mouth and just see how that relates to the face. It's just a bit more than that. So that is roughly where it would be. And look at the angle, but I find that is quite useful, just relate. And again, that's something that I've got through drawing people. I tend to draw heads and then I try and find the difficult bit, get all the difficult bits done first, and then it's easier to join limbs to them. Whereas it may be counterintuitive. We might think, oh, we'll draw the hands, the arms, and the hands to go at the end. But sometimes you might find that a little bit easier to go about it that way. and then work your way back. Is that enough? It's just a few kind of process points, really, sort of doing it in a certain process to it.